Hey everybody, Darren Cross here. Welcome to Business 215. This is small business management, and this is actually the first week of Business 215. And this week we're going to be covering chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 1 is about introducing us to small business and all of the nuances of small business, or at least many of the nuances of small business. And chapter 2 is about entrepreneurs, actually the characteristics and competencies of entrepreneurs. And so this first part is just laying the foundation for what we're going to be talking about as we go over the next 16 weeks, right? So in chapter 1, we're actually saying, okay, we're talking about small business and entrepreneurship. What is really all of that stuff about? And there are some specific learning objectives in the chapter that we're going to address. And so let's talk about them now. So number 1, we're going to understand the scope of small business in the United States. So we're going to understand what small business is really doing. What we got to know is that when people say things about small business, I think that we have our idea what it is, and it's like mom and pop shop, and it's not always that. Sometimes small businesses actually drive, well, definitely small businesses driving our economy, but sometimes small businesses, that big kind of regional company that's in your area that has 78 employees, but it's pretty big for the area. So we're gonna learn all about that. We're gonna learn the scope of small business in the United States. We're gonna differentiate between small business and high growth ventures. So what is the difference between those small companies and regional companies and those things that are really getting big and going global and IPOs and things like that? We're going to dispel some of the key myths about small business. A lot of people think a lot of things about small business, and we're going to talk about that. One of the things that frustrates me to death is when people say, well, they're only doing that because they're getting a deduction. Well, that's not a smart thing for someone to do just because they're getting a deduction. I think that people think that a deduction means that the money that someone gives away is just money that's coming back to them, and that is not true, right? There are lots of things about business that we're going to dig into and that you'll understand as we go through, right? We're going to identify actions key to becoming a small business owner. So what do you have to do in order to actually get set up and own your business? We're going to recognize how small businesses are important to our economy and to your community. So we're going to delve into what I was talking about before about how small businesses drive the economy. And then we're going to recognize the 7 key strategies of the entrepreneurial way. And it's basically the strategies of persevering, right? It's about, I talk about this all the time when I'm coaching people. So I'll talk to someone about a business and they think that because they can't make $1 million in the first year, that it's not worth pursuing. And so it's hard for me to get people to quit their $50,000 a year job to make $50,000 a year on their own. There's just this comfort with working for somebody that is just necessary. And then whenever something doesn't work, then they're like, "Oh, this business doesn't work. I need to quit." And this is really about persevering. So the 7 key strategies of the entrepreneurial way is really about how you can survive and get through the challenges that I promise you as an entrepreneur you are going to have. Okay? And then in chapter 2, sorry, let me close this out. Chapter 2 is actually about the characteristics and competencies of entrepreneurs themselves. A lot of people just are not built to be entrepreneurs, and so we're going to dig into that and what it takes to really be an effective entrepreneur in chapter 2. So the learning objectives for chapter 2: recognize the key aspects of the entrepreneurial personality. So like I said, not everybody's built for this, and so we have to understand, are those aspects there for you? Assess the operational competencies of the successful entrepreneur. Number 3, we're going to identify the challenges that women and minority business owners face. Now, we're talking about the disparate impact on different communities based upon maybe resources that have or have not been available, and so we're going to dig into that and look at some of the things that we can do along the way. Describe the situation of people who become second career or veteran entrepreneurs. So we're going to look at what that life really looks like for them. Recognize the special nature of entrepreneurial teams. When you look, if you're if you're operating inside of an organization, what you'll realize is that the entrepreneurial mindset is completely different. And so everything around that is different. And so we're going to talk about what it means to what entrepreneurial teams really do and what they're really about. Describe the challenges of family business owners. This is extremely challenging because one of the things that I tell people in business is you have to be allegiant to sound business principles. And so if you're owning a business with a wife or your kids or something like that, what happens when you have to decide between the business and your family? You want to be loyal to your family, but the other thing is you have to understand that sometimes that's to the detriment of your business and vice versa. So there are lots of things to think about there. Recognize the stages of development entrepreneurs and their companies actually go through. We're going to know what happens when you have the startup idea all the way through to a mature business that can run and operate without you actually having to be there. And discover the rewards discover the rewards that entrepreneurs can achieve through their businesses. Okay, so we're going to dig into that as well. If you have any questions with any of this stuff, feel free to reach out. Good luck.